Shabbat Shalom, my Hebrews and Shebrews. This is Oilfield Disciple this morning, March 21st, 2020. Welcome to the Oilfield Disciple channel, where we are reading our daily bread. We will be reading Genesis chapter 5, Psalm 5, Proverbs 21, Matthew 5, and Isaiah 3. Let's get busy with it. Genesis 5, verse 1, or Bereshit 5:1. This is the book of genealogy of Adam. In the day that Elohim created man, he made him in the likeness of Elohim, male and female, he created them. He blessed them and called their name Adam in the day they were created. And Adam lived 130 years, and he brought forth a son in his own likeness, after his image, and called his name Seth. And after he brought forth Seth, the days of Adam were 800 years, and he brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Adam were 930 years, and he died. And Seth lived 105 years and brought forth Enosh. And after he brought forth Enosh, Seth lived 807 years, and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. And Enosh lived 90 years and brought forth Canaan. And after he brought forth Canaan, Enosh lived 815 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Enosh were 905 years, and he died. Canaan lived 70 years and brought forth Mahalalel. After he brought forth Mahalalel, Canaan lived 840 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Canaan were 910 years, and he died. And Mahalalel lived 65 years and brought forth Yared. After he brought forth Yared, Mahalalel lived 830 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Mahalalel were 895 years, and he died. And Yared lived 162 years and brought forth Hanok. After he brought forth Hanok, Yared lived 800 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Yared were 962 years, and he died. Hanok lived 65 years and brought forth Methuselah. And after he brought forth Methuselah, Hanok walked with Elohim 300 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Hanok were 365 years. Hanok walked with Elohim, then he was no more, for Elohim took him. And Methuselah lived 187 years and brought forth Lamech. And after he brought forth Lamech, Methuselah lived 782 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. Lamech lived 182 years and brought forth a son, and called his name Noah, saying, This one does comfort us concerning our work and toil of our hands, because of the ground which Yahweh has cursed. And after he brought forth Noah, Lamech lived 595 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah brought forth Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Notice that the names of the sons, the genealogy, are quite similar to the genealogy that come from Cain that killed Abel. Um, just a side note, there is a study there, and the significance of looking at that genealogy helps us to understand that God is who he says he is. He does what he says he will do. Now I'm reading from the Scriptures version of the Bible. Psalms chapter 5. Tehillim chapter 5. Give ear to my words, O Yahweh, consider my meditation. Attend to the voice of my cry, my sovereign, my Elohim, for unto you I pray. O Yahweh, in the morning you hear my voice. These are one of the reasons why I like to read Scripture early in the morning. And just as the day goes, once you've had your scripture, regardless of how the day goes, it gives you a different attitude on how you can handle and how you respond to the issues of the day. I present myself to you in the morning, and I look up. For you are not an ale taking delight in wrong, nor does evil sojourn with you. The boasters do not stand before your eyes. You hate all workers of wickedness, and you destroy those speaking falsehood. Yahweh loathes a man of blood and deceit. But I enter your house in the greatness of your loving commitment. I bow myself towards your set apart temple, or Hekel, in your fear. O Yahweh, lead me in your righteousness because of those watching me. Make your way straight before my face, for there is no stability in your mouth, in their mouth. Their inward part is destruction. Their throat is an open burial site. They flatter with their tongue. Declare them guilty, O Elohim, and let them fall by their own counsels. Thrust them away for their many transgressions, because they have rebelled against you. But let all who take refuge in you rejoice. Let them ever shout for joy because you shelter them, and let those who love your name exult in you. For you bless the righteous, O Yahweh. You surround him with favor as with a shield. There's one of these rocks we can stand on in this time of trouble. Like I said, I'm not going to do a whole lot of commentary because just reading this word, I need y'all to understand. You just read this word, and then as you read this word, there will be certain things that you'll be urged by the Spirit to go diligently seek out. But initially, got to get this word in you. Mishle chapter 5, or Proverbs chapter 5. My son, oops, not 5, 21. Hold the horses. Proverbs 21, Mishle chapter 21. The sovereign's heart is as channels of water. In the hand of Yahweh, he turns it wherever he wills. All a man's ways are right in his own eyes, but Yahweh weighs the hearts. To do righteousness and right ruling is more acceptable to Yahweh than a slaughtering, a haughty look and a proud heart. The lamp of the wrong are sin. The plans of the hard worker lead only to plenty, but all rash haste only to poverty. Gaining treasures by a lying tongue is a fleeing vapor headed for death. The spoil of the wrong catches them because they refuse to do right ruling. The way of a guilty man is perverse, but as for the innocent, his work is right. It is better to dwell in a corner of a roof than in a house shared with a contentious woman. The desire of the wrong is set upon evil. His neighbor finds no favor in his eyes. When the scoffer is punished, the simple made wise. But when the wise is instructed, he receives knowledge. The righteous one understands the house of the wrong. He overthrows the wrong for their evil, and whoever shuts his ears to the cry of the poor, let him also cry and not be heard. A gift in secret subdues displeasure, and a bribe in the bosom strong wrath. To do right ruling is joy to the righteous, the ruin to the workers of wickedness. A man who strays from the way of understanding rests in the assembly of the dead. He who loves pleasure is a poor man, and he who loves wine and oil does not become rich. The wrong is a ransom for the righteous, and the treacherous for the straight. It is better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and vexed woman. Desirable treasure and oil are in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man swallows it up. He who pursues righteousness and loving commitment finds life, righteousness, and esteem. A wise one scales the city of the mighty and brings down trusted stronghold. Whoever guards his mouth and tongue guards his life from distress. Poor, haughty, scoffer is his name. He acts with arrogant pride. The desire of the lazy man slay him, for his hands refuse to work. He covets greedily all day long, but the righteous gives and does not withhold. The slaughtering of the wrong is an abomination. how much more when he brings it with wickedness? A false witness perishes, but the man who obeys speaks forever. A wrong man hardens his face, but as for the straight, he establishes his way. There is no wisdom or understanding or counsel against Yahweh. The horse is prepared for the day of battle, but the deliverance is of Yahweh. Matityahu chapter 5, Matthew chapter 5. This is also known as the Beatitudes. 5 verse 1. But when he saw the crowds, he went up to the mountain, and when he was seated, his taught ones came to him, and having opened his mouth, he was teaching them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, because theirs is the reign of the heavens. Blessed are those who mourn, because they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, because they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, because they shall be filled. Blessed are the compassionate, because they shall obtain compassion. Blessed are the clean in heart, because they shall see Elohim. Blessed are the peacemakers, because they shall be called sons of Elohim. Blessed are those persecuted for righteousness' sake, because theirs is the reign of heavens. Blessed are you when they reproach and persecute you, and falsely say every wicked word against you for my sake. Rejoice and be glad, because your reward is in heaven is great. For in this way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt becomes tasteless, how shall it be seasoned? For it is no longer of any use but to be thrown out and trodden down by men. You are the light of the world. It is impossible for a city to be hidden on a mountain, nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it shines to all those in the house. Let your light so shine before men, so that they see your good works and praise your Father who is in heaven. Do not think that I come to destroy the Torah of the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to complete. For truly I say to you, till heaven and earth pass away, not one yod or one tittle shall by no means pass from the Torah, till all be done. Whoever then breaks one of the least of these commands, and teaches men so, shall be called least in the reign of the heavens. But whoever does and teaches them, he shall be called great in the reign of heavens. What in the world is that noise? So that's one of the reasons why I keep asking people, well, where was the Torah done away with? Where was the Torah done away with? When did Jesus say all this is done away with? He doesn't. Verse 20. For I say to you that unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and the Pharisees, you shall by no means enter the reign of heaven. You heard that it was said that those of old, you shall not murder, and whoever murders shall be liable to judgment. But I say to you that whoever is wroth with his brother without cause shall be liable to judgment. And whoever says to his brother, Racha, shall be liable to the Sanhedrin. But whoever says, you fool, shall be liable to fire of Gehenna. See, Jesus didn't come and take the Torah away. He made it even a little bit more difficult. Because now you not only are in trouble for doing the deed, you're in trouble for even thinking of the deed. Verse 23. If then you bring your gift to the slaughter place, and there remember that your brother holds whatever against you, leave your gift there before the slaughter place and go. First make peace with your brother, and then come and offer your gift. Be well-minded with your opponent promptly, while you are on the way with him, lest your opponent deliver you to the judge, and the judge to the officer, and you be thrown to prison. Truly, I say to you, you shall by no means get out of there till you have paid the last quadrant. You heard it was said to those of old, you shall not commit adultery. But I say to you that everyone looking at a woman to lust after her has already committed adultery with her in his heart. And if your right eye causes you to stumble, pluck it out and throw it away from you. For it is better for it is better for you that one of your members perish than for your entire body to be thrown to Gehenna. If your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away from you. For it is better for you that one of your members perish than for your entire body to be thrown into Gehenna. And it has been said, whoever puts away his wife, let him give her a certificate of divorce. But I say to you that whoever puts away his wife, except for the matter of whoring, makes her commit adultery. And whoever marries a woman who has been put away commits adultery. Again, you heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not swear falsely, but shall perform your oaths to Yahweh. I say to you, do not swear vainly at all, neither by heaven, because it is Elohim's throne, nor by earth, for it is his footstool, nor by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great sovereign. Nor swear by your head, because you are not able to make one hair white or black. But let your word, yes, be yes, and your no be no. And what goes beyond these is from the wicked one. You heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say to you, do not resist the wicked. But whoever slaps you on your right cheek, turn the other to him also. And he who wishes to sue you and take away your inner garment, let him have your outer as well. And whoever compels you to go 1 mile, go with him 2. Give to him who asks of you, and from him who wishes to borrow from you, do not turn away. You heard it said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and bless those cursing you. Do good to those hating you and pray for those insulting you and persecuting you, so that you become sons of your Father in the heavens, because he makes his sun rise on the wicked, on the good, and sends rain on the righteous and on the unrighteous. For if you love those loving you, what reward have you? Are the tax collectors not doing the same? And if you greet your brothers only, what do you do more than others? Are the tax collectors not doing so too? Therefore be perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. Do not misunderstand Jesus. He's not calling those who follow him weak and wimpy. He's calling you to be set apart, that you are different from the world. You operate different from the world. And forgiveness be in your heart first and foremost, as your Father in heaven has forgiven you. Isaiah chapter 3. I think in the intro I said Isaiah 5, but anyway, we're in Isaiah chapter 3. For look, Master Yahweh of hosts is turning aside from Jerusalem and from Judah, the stock and the store, all the supply of bread and all the supply of water, the mighty man and the man of battle, the judge, the prophet, and the diviner and elder, the commander of 50, and the highly respected man, and the counselor, and the skilled craftsman, and the clever enchanter. And I shall use their heads, and children shall rule over them. And the people shall exert pressure, man on man, man on his neighbor. The young rise up against the older, and the lightly esteemed against the highly esteemed. When a man takes hold of his brother in the house of his father by the garment, and says, come, be a chief over us, and let this ruin be under your hand. He shall swear in that day, saying, I am not a healer, for in my house is neither bread nor garment. Do not make me chief of the people, for Jerusalem has stumbled, and Yehuda has fallen, because their tongue and their doings are against Yahweh, to provoke the eyes of his esteem. The look on their faces witnesses against them, and they declare their sin as Sodom. They do not hide it. Woe to their being, for they have brought evil upon themselves. Say to the righteous, it is well, for they have eaten the fruit of their doings. Woe to the wrong, evil, for the reward of his hand is done to him. My people, youths exert pressure on them, and women rule over them. O my people, your leaders lead you astray, and swallow the way of your paths. Yahweh shall stand up to plead, and is standing to judge the peoples. Yahweh enters into judgment with the elders of his people and his heads. It is you who have eaten up the vineyard, the plunder of the poor in your houses. What do you mean by crushing my people and grinding the faces of the poor? Declares the Master Yahweh of hosts. And Yahweh says, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with outstretched necks and seductive eyes, walking and mincing as they go, making a jingling with their feet. Therefore Yahweh shall smite with the scab the crown of the head of daughters of Zion, and Yahweh expose their nakedness. In that day Yahweh takes away the finery of the anklets, and the headbands and the crescents, the pendants, the bracelets and the veils, the headdresses, leg ornaments and the sashes, the perfume bottles and the amulets, the rings and the nose jewels, the costly robes and the cloak, and the shawls and the purses, the mirrors and the fine linen of the turbans and the large veils. And it shall be instead of sweet fragrance, a smell of decay, and instead of a belt, a rope, and instead of well set hair, baldness, and instead of a festal robe, a girding of sackcloth, and branding instead of loveliness. Your man shall fall by the sword, and your strength in battle, and her gate shall lament and mourn, and she, deserted, shall sit on the ground. Okay, the women of Israel were um, very well adorned. And we can kind of equate that with um, the lifestyle and the mindsets of here in America. Now, I'm watching what's going on around us, and um, without Yahweh, this would be quite frightening. Um, I praise the Father that I have my faith and my trust in Him. America has been a nation of not only evildoers, but um, we're quite rich. And as we look, we go to the grocery stores, um, the shelves are cleared. The shelves are empty because, basically men have not prepared for the day that famine comes. And so that in itself strikes fear in the people. And because we're not um, prepared, when we hear of coming danger, we have to go and do a run on the stores. Instead of getting a couple of cartons of eggs, we're having to get 12 eggs because we've heard that there may be 30 days we won't be able to go to the store. And so when each individual's having to do that, there's just not enough supply to um, to take care of the demand. And as we read there just now in Isaiah, that it is Yahweh that takes these things away. Um, America's fixing to be humbled. I don't know to what extent what we're looking at here. Um, I've read several reports that says that, if we look at what's happened in Italy, we'll see what's coming to America. Um, Doctors and nurses talking about what it'll look like at our hospitals. It'll be overflowed and overran by those who are sick of this virus. Well, that's not only going to overrun them from that alone, but just the everyday person having to go to the hospital over ailments is not going to be able to be satisfied, uh, taken care of. And so mix that with this, and it's quite horrific to think about. Secondly, going forth after this, once the dust settles, what our country will look like, the laws and rules that will be put in place, because people will shout and beg the government to basically take away our civil liberties um, in the name of safety. Um, the coming America it will not resemble anything that what it once was. In some ways good, and in some ways it's going to suck. Uh, Men have not taken leadership of their homes. They have not taken the precautions necessary to protect their families, um, because we've always assumed that there's going to be packages of hamburger meat and loaves of bread and gallons of milk at the store. Well, now then that is not the case. Uh, not only have men failed their homes, but um, fear has entered into the hearts of man. Like I said, I don't know what this is going to look like. I really don't. I've got ideas of what it's going to look like. Only time will tell. But I do know one thing, that if we don't have our trust in the Most High Yah, if that ain't where our trust and faith is at, um, troubling times awaits. Maybe this will bring some back to the Father. But when we read in scriptures, we know that even in these calamities like this, men still will not turn to God. They're still going to lean on their own understanding, and they're still going to reject the Most High. It's amazing. Anyway, that's our daily bread for today. I may make another video here in a little bit. I apologize for yesterday. I couldn't get it to upload. Um, it kept saying error uploading. I don't know. Sometimes it does that, and then sometimes it'll just load up real quick. So I don't know if that has to do with the amount of volume on the internet or what. But we're at 8:30 right now in the morning, and we'll see how long it takes it to upload. So y'all be blessed, be encouraged, and always be frustrated. Go look this stuff up for yourself. Um, reading the Word of Yah, it will transform your life. You have no choice but to be transformed by diligently reading His Word, and not just taking the word of some pastor. I don't care how good he is or how well he speaks. If we just rest on what a pastor tells us or a teacher tells us who God is, we're never going to hear who God is. We're never going to know who God is. It would be like someone telling you who your wife was or your husband was. If you didn't ever go seek them out for yourself, you never really would know your spouse. So let that be our daily bread this morning. Y'all be blessed. And do not be afraid, for Yahweh is with us. A soul-filled disciple, and I will catch you on the next ride.